Round like a circle in a spiral, like a wheel within a wheel, never ending or beginning on an ever spinning reel, like a snowball down a mountain or a carnival balloon, like a carousel that's turning, running rings around the moon, like a clock whose hands are sweeping past the minutes of its face, and the world is like an apple whirling silently in space, like those circles that you find in the windmills of your mind. The Windmills of Your Mind. If you didn't know who wrote that song and you had to take a punt, you'd probably think, someone French, wouldn't you? Why? Why would you think that? Because there's something very stylistically chanson-esque about this, and that's what I'm going to look at in analysing this song. What is that? What are the stylistic things that underpin a French chanson type song that had huge success through the 50s and 60s, you know, Piaf, Jacques Brel, Gainsbourg. What was it about those songs? Well, if it's French, it's going to be two things, right? It's going to be, and it's pop music. They don't just do pop music. They do pop music with elegance and sophistication. So, and what they're going to do to achieve those two things, really the lyric is going to kind of be number one, then the melody to serve that lyric, that intelligent, sophisticated lyric, and then the chord progression underneath that is going to add to those two things. It feels like that's the hierarchy of a chanson-esque song. So let's look at that in terms of this. Well, first of all, you can't get more of an elegant melody than this, you know. The patterns, it goes up, same patterns, but just going up, and then starts to come down. Until it gets back to that home note of within the E minor chord. So beautifully elegant melody, number one, hugely sophisticated words, and a sophisticated concept here to do a song that's about circles within circles, and then harmonically, and in terms of the melody, everything goes around in circles and comes back to the beginning. What do I mean by that? Well, brilliant use of dominance here, dominant notes, dominant chords to get us in that circular way. It's not quite going through the whole circle of fifths, but it's using that for a little bit, and then there's a few interesting twists and turns. So let's have a listen. So of course, we've got this first very strong dominant here, and by the way, there's basically two main scales being used here. There's the E minor harmonic scale, which we're all very familiar with, anybody who's done piano grades, the harmonic scale, but it's also just the natural minor scale for the majority of the melody. It doesn't use that D sharp note. There's a lot of D naturals in the melody, so I'm kind of in E harmonic mode here, and then we're now lifting through these dominants, so E7 to A minor, D7 to G, C, not to F, which is where it kind of should go, and it could potentially go there. There's no reason why it doesn't, but there's this first brilliant shift, interesting harmonic shift there. Remember, the sophistication of the harmony of the chords is going to support the sophistication of the melody, which is being led by the lyric rather than the other way around. Sometimes lyrics just sort of get attached to brilliant melodies, but in this case, it's the strength of the lyric that's driving through this melody, I would argue. Although I think the melody was actually written first. So we've got the dominant, and then this great chord here. So we've got an F sharp minor, flattened fifth, and the seventh in there. So really it's like playing an A minor with an F sharp in the bass, which is why it works harmonically from a C major 7, because effectively you're playing A minor, relevant minor to C major, so all the same notes as within a C major, and then this great moment here. Apple whirling silently through space. Now look, the other reason why these kind of harmonic shifts work is because, as I'm trying to say, it's all to serve the melody. And if you listen to the melody, really what's happening here is, let's just take the last bits of each melody. So for instance, if we go carnival balloon, so we've got da-dum balloon, balloon, the moon, its face in space, you find your mind. So I just took the last two words, the words that you almost of each little mini phrase within the whole overarching, the kind of the mini beats within the whole overarching sentence story that's being structured here, and you'll hear that's the pattern that's being created. So once you can harmonize that with lots of different chords. So that's why, for instance, here you can get away with that B7 to that kind of A sharp diminished chord, do do, because what we're listening to is la 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 la, that leading note. It's all about the leading note, and that's where it is a truly sophisticated and elegant song, and is definitely within, I would argue, that chanson style. There's something baroque about it, and that's very much within that stylistically as well. So yeah, if you've got any other French chanson-esque music that you'd like me to have a look at, do leave a comment. I hope that opened up just a little window on why I think that song has stood the test of time since it first premiered as part of the Thomas Crown Affair. Of course, Noel Harrison singing that one. And Michel Legrand, brilliant composer, hugely influential within TV and film, and Umbrellas of Cherbourg, and then of course wrote some brilliant musical theatre as well. So just a phenomenal composer. Hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you at the next video.